Thirsty Thursday. You already know what time it is. I do want to let everybody know, David Cohn, him and his beautiful wife, Darby Lou, had their third child yesterday. So Cohn is out today. He may be back tomorrow. But look, we love sports just about as much as anything outside of, obviously, the people we create. So David, enjoying that. So happy for them. The baby is happy and healthy, and so is mama. But, Blanye, you know what that means.
Special guest.
We get another appearance. We have replacement Cone, and then his new sidekick that people are just raving about after his appearance yesterday, our friend Pylon Boy.
Pylon Boy really took the show yesterday.
He really did.
He really did. And for replacement Cone, I mean, you're moving further down the list.
Well, look,
you got to be honest. It's time to be honest.
I don't think you got to go about it like that.
Time to be honest about it.
Look, it's like a good team. Everybody knows their role. Everybody play their position. You don't have to, for lack of a better term, be a dick about it, dog.
Well, don't tell me. I mean, tell replacement Cone to know his role.
Well, he's right here.
Know your role, dude.
He does know his role. He sits over there and shuts up.
No, he talks a lot. Look at that face. Look at that smug face. Just look at me throughout the whole episode.
Well, we got a lot to get to. Nick Saban is heading to ESPN. John Fanta is going to join us to cover all things college basketball, and we're going to play our own version of Yes or No Super Bowl edition. I'm Jake Crane. That's Blaine, replacement Cone, and of course, Pylon Boy. And welcome to Crane & Company. The greatest college football coach of all time, Nick Saban, announced yesterday that he will be joining ESPN to be a co-host on College Game Day, the Saturday tradition. He's also going to help out with SEC Media Days, draft coverage, and things like that, probably while he's flying back and forth on his island with Professor X and Nick Fury. So what does that mean going forward? Well, the answer is obvious. Nick Saban is already the best college football analyst, quote unquote, that ESPN has or has ever had. The biggest question, and Charles Barkley talked about this last night, is what happens the first time he has to criticize a coach? What happens the first time he has to criticize Alabama or maybe another school like LSU that he's been at in the past? That's probably the biggest hump to get over. But knowing Nick Saban, he's just going to tell you straight up. The coolest part about this, and we were the first ones to be upset about David Pollack leaving ESPN, and we still are, but Nick Saban can give you an insight and a perspective that while there have been other coaches that have gone on and done a really good job as analysts on ESPN, nobody's the GOAT. And the thing about it is, Nick Saban will just tell you. Now, he won't throw anybody under the bus. He won't say anything stupid. But when it comes to the on-the-field performance, when it comes to building culture, building a program, the ever-changing landscape of NIL and the transfer portal and college sports in general, there is nobody better to bring his perspective to the table than the greatest master puppeteer that we've ever seen in the sport. So, will more people watch Game Day now? Probably. A lot of people still watch it. But with Nick Saban, it brings a totally new element that may just save it in the long run. Bringing my co-host, former Western Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. Obviously, as I mentioned, David Cohn is with his beautiful family. Welcome their third child. Blaine, the first thing, and I even put this on social media, I want to ask you what you think about Nick Saban joining ESPN. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I can understand why Florida State fans, this would irk them a little bit more, because it's very hard to look at Nick Saban his last year, retiring, going to join ESPN, getting put into the playoff, and listen, I think Alabama was one of the top 4 teams in the country. I think Florida State got screwed, but two things can be true at once. Do you buy into maybe there was a little bit of forethought or that ESPN may have known something? And look, anybody that says ESPN doesn't have influence over the college football playoff and things like that, come on, let's wake up a little bit now. That's like saying that donors to political parties that run these big corporations don't have a say in anything. Let's live in the real world. Right? I don't believe that 100%, but I can understand why Florida State.
So you're saying that
they
put him in because they knew Nick Saban was going to retire?
Yes, and then go to ESPN.
No, No, I don't think so because
I'm not saying they did that. I'm saying that's
no. Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, but no, I do not believe that at all. There's a lot better conspiracy theories. I think they just put him in because he is Nick Saban. Regardless of who's going to coach another year or not coach another year, they're going to put Alabama in because of Jordan Travis, and I think they were the better team. One, is this great for college football? It is. It is. Is it great for the SEC? Is it great for everybody around? Yes. If you're an Auburn fan, this sucks. Okay? This sucks to me. Please get as far away from the sport as possible. Are you better for the sport? Yes. But somewhere in the back of my mind, it just creeps up that this is going to benefit Alabama in some way.
Well, see, in
some way.
I disagree with you there. I don't think Alabama's got the benefit of the doubt already, and they had that with Nick Saban. We'll see how long that goes without Nick Saban, and we're going to get into the Kirk Herbstreit and Georgia stuff. Seems like ESPN is decoupling from Georgia as fast as they possibly can. But I think Nick Saban's actually going to call it straight, man. I think Nick Saban, he cares too much about not being right, but giving the best information he possibly can. I don't think he's going to slant it toward one school or the other. What I am waiting to see, and again, this is what Charles Barkley was talking about last night, and I was thinking it, and I agree with him 100%. What happens the first time that Nick Saban has to criticize a coach? What happens the first time he has to criticize Alabama or LSU or a place that he's been? That is the hardest thing for guys to get over. Even when I started the J-Boy show in the back room of in Mississippi, I was in coaching for a long time. It was hard for me to criticize other coaches because you know what's going on. But at the end of the day, I'm going to always fall on the side of telling you what I think. Mm-hmm. I'm not out here, again, we say it all the time. If I want to make people happy, I'd sell ice cream and cupcakes for a living. But that's not what I'm doing. So I actually don't think it's going to be a Let's Kiss Bama's Ass festival with Nick Saban. It already is at ESPN. I don't think Nick Saban's going to go in there and add that much more to it.
I don't think it's going to be a Kiss Bama's Ass festival. I don't think it's going to be that. But I do think Nick Saban has a way of winding words together to make it sound like this is the reason it should happen. There's a reason Nick Saban was who he is. From a recruiting standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, Nick Saban can sell anything to anybody. You give Nick Saban a pen, he can sell Wolf of Wall Street style. But one thing that is good, I think Game Day needed this because Game Day sucked, in my opinion, especially after this last year. 2, Lee Corso needs to get off set. It's time for Lee to get off. I think they're going to bring
this has got to be Lee's replacement, right?
This got to be Lee. Like, sooner or later, look, and I'm a big Lee Corso guy. Like, I've loved Lee throughout the years. If something bad is going to happen on set, they got to get him off.
Well, and when you come down to Lee Corso, and we want to know what y'all think. We're going to get to the Booster Club in a second. We got a packed show for you today. I grew up with Lee Corso, mm-hmm. right? The headgear and all that, and love what he's done for the sport. And he's a Hall of Famer for sure. But it is getting it's getting to the point where it seems like the last 5 years, there's always one show where they're like, all right, we're going to put Lee on the raft and push him down the river. It's all, and everybody's crying. And like, you know, it used to be Tom Rinaldi is going through some run through the first time Lee ever put on a headset. You know, he's picked USC 35 times and this, that, and the other. Like, eventually, when you go on the tour of your retiring, you got to retire, man.
It's time.
Like, you don't see guys on their last year of baseball in Major League Baseball going to these other parks and they're like, please take a moment to thank Miguel Cabrera for what he's done. They don't come back the next year.
You had your year of goodbyes.
You had your year of goodbyes. So, look, I mean, Nick Saban, he's the greatest of all time. He has a level of insight and a level of knowledge and forethought that nobody really has had before him, I think, that has gone there. So, without a doubt, I think he's the best analyst at ESPN, right?
100%. 100%. It's not even close.
All right, so we want to know what you think. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, whatever chat you're in. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, make sure you share the show. We got John Fanta coming up, college basketball on Fox, reporter, broadcaster, Field of 68. Excited to talk some hoops with him. But first, we got our number. We're going to throw in the chat. It's 1-855-236-3228. That's going to open at 7:15 a.m. Central. Going to get right to the Booster Club. But as I said, talking about Nick Saban's going to be a factor. Let me tell you the biggest factor. It's our friends over at Factor Meals. They're delicious. They're ready to eat. They're easy to make. They're pre-prepared. It's a lot harder to say than you think. Chef-crafted and dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You'll have over 35 different options to choose from. It's like the ultimate RPO, including keto, calorie smart, vegan and veggie, and more. And there's even more to enjoy with over 55 nutrition-packed add-ons that help make your weekly planning even more delicious. I wish we had Factor when I was growing up, to be honest with you. It would have made it a whole hell of a lot easier when I had to either lose weight or put weight back on going from sport to sport. That'd have been nice. It would have made being on the go a lot easier as well. I mean, obviously, being able to have it pre-prepared, then make it, then knock it out takes a lot of the pressure and hard work out of it. So head to factormeals.com/booster50. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say it even slower. All right. That's Factor Meals, FACTOR meals.com/booster50 and use code booster50 and you're going to get half off your order. That's right. 50% off. That's code booster50 at factormeals.com/booster50 to get that 50% off. With Factor Meals, it's always the best factor. Also, we got our Super Bowl live stream Sunday.
Yeah.
Really excited about that.
I'm pumped.
All right, we're going to put our merch link in the chat as well. Now that I've got most of the housekeeping out of the way, let's get to the Booster Club. I want you in this thing, Blaine. I want dedication. I live. Emotion.
This is my home.
I want support.
This is my home where I live. This is what I want. I want you to hit that like and subscribe button. All right, questions. And if you donate, if it's on topic, I will read it. If not, I will catch it at the end of the show. We're going to start with Cantoris with the $5 donation. Thank you. He says, I'll never forget Corso screaming, giving that effing midget to the Notre Dame mascot. Yes. It was priceless.
No, look, Corso has some of the best. I mean, he's been on game day since it started, basically, so he's going to. But, I mean, Lee Corso is game. There will never be a time where I think of college game day and Lee Corso is out of my thought pictures, right?
Your thought pictures.
My mind movies.
Yeah.
No, Lee Corso is a staple of game day. He will always be a staple of game day. There's moments that I can remember off the top of my head that have been hilarious. And it's just Lee being Lee. And it is going to be sad to see him go if this is the final straw. But at some point, I'll say it again, you've got to move on. You got to get on the raft, turn on the Sarah McLachlan songs, shoot the flaming arrows in the air, and let's get down the river.
All right, let's go to Chris H. He says, remember when some Bama fans truly believed Saban was going to still be a part of the program after his retirement because he had an office in the building?
Well, and the minute he bought the island, I was like, even if he retires, there's no way he's just going to be hanging out around Alabama's complex all the time. You know what you do when you buy an island? Two things. One of them's good, the other one's not. All right? But Nick Saban buying a, $17 million island? Hey, if I'm spending a cool 17 mil on an island, guess where you can find me, right? Yeah. You can find me eating chicken.
In Alabama's off. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, you can find me sipping a Mai Tai, eating some cheese.
He's got some spies running around on that campus.
Yeah, but it's not. To me, it's not even about that. Nick Saban can get any information he wants. If he wants to go out there and run the drill, he can. But if I'm buying an island, right, I am walking out on the top deck in my robe, looking at sunshine, doses and mimosas, my friend.
I love that. All right, let's go to Gideon Plays 814. Says, my dad asked me if Saban was going to replace Lee Corso. I simply responded, Dad, Lee Corso is going to die on that desk.
Well, and you know what? There is something to be said for being carried out on your shield, right? Like, if I'm going to go out, how many guys would be like, you know what, man? Like, coaches or players, if I'm going to go out, I wish I could go out in the field. Then we have the DeMar Hamlin situation. Everybody's like, oh, my God, obviously not in that way. But for the older guys, like, look, there's a lot worse ways to go out, especially with the way we're headed, I think.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Andy J. All right, this is going to be tough right here.
Okay.
All right. Serious question. Who can complete a sentence better?
Here we go.
Lee Corso or Joe Biden? This is tough, dude.
I mean,
this is tough.
This one, that's a 50-50 to me. I mean, that's a jump ball. That's a jump ball. Who's going to win it? It's a true jump ball, Andy J.
That's tough. I don't know if I can pick that. Let's go to Jor. What is up, my guy? He says, the first time Saban picks Ohio State, will Ryan Day come at him like Lou Holtz?
No, look, Nick Saban, you can come at Lou. I mean, Lou's, 312 years old. I mean,
see, that's another thing. Nick Saban can go up there and really say anything he wants to about a coach, and that coach will be like, he's right.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna come at Nick Saban. Let's just put it that way. You don't want to be sent for. I'll say this though. Again, back to my earlier point. I'm very interested to see how Nick Saban goes about criticizing coaching decisions and obviously coaching success and performance. Because at some point, you have to do it, right? You can't just sit there and baby everybody and say, I'm not okay, you're not okay, but that's okay. That's not what he's going to do.
All right, let's go to Sasha. He says, does Saban taking the ESPN job keep him from being the football czar that will replace the NCAA, or is this ESPN's push to have someone lead college football and push the NCAA out?
Well, at the end of the day, ESPN's one of the big decision makers in this college football situation. Look at the media rights deals at certain conferences. I don't think it does. I don't think this disqualifies him from being him and Greg Sankey or being on some sort of football commission, as we've talked about. I just think this is a side gig for him, and ESPN's obviously the biggest platform that they have in them and Fox they're coming together, obviously, with the SEC and the Big Ten with this advisory board. No, I don't think it disqualifies him. It's an interesting thought, though.
Let's go to Danny, girl. Is there a bigger dichotomy between Saban and McAfee? And do you think he replaces Lee Corso or Pat McAfee?
No, I don't. They're paying Pat McAfee too much. They're going to have Nick and Pat McAfee on the stage. I think it's going to go good. You want to know why? Because I think Nick and Pat are both able to, even if, let's say, their personalities were to clash offset, which I don't think they do, they'd be good enough to put on a good show and at least, in front of people or in front of the audience, be able to have a fun back and forth. When you look at the way McAfee goes about his business, I think McAfee's going to actually be good for Saban because I think he may open Saban up a little bit more to the audience, make it a little bit more funny. And then, look, Pat's not afraid to ask some serious questions on there. I mean, that's one area where, look, do I love everything Pat McAfee does? No, but I respect him. I think he's funny. He seems like a fantastic guy, and he's had a ton of success. I think he'll actually be good for Saban.
I was going to string jeans. Saban has about as much personality as a stuffed elephant. He's going to suck on game.
See, that's a common misconception, and I understand why you think that. You said what, string jeans? Because when he was coaching, he didn't want to go out there and be some humongous personality that's cracking jokes or he's like Lane Kiffin. But if you know the guys who have played for Saban, the coaches who have coached for Saban, the people that know Nick Saban, I'm telling you, this cat is funny. Like, you don't go and get all the players as consistently throughout the years that Nick Saban did with just being a robot, just going in there as the Sabatron 3000 and saying, do you want to make millions in the league? No. I mean, this guy does have a lot more personality than what people think. And I really hope that gets to shine through on ESPN because, again, the closer you get to Nick Saban, the more you find out who this guy really is, and he's got a lot more personality and is a lot different outside of the screaming at Dolphins players making them cry or being a hard ass, right, because he's trying to get the best out of his players, or those pregame speeches. And now he's not coaching anymore. I think some of that intensity will continue to wane, obviously, as he gets up there in age. So I understand off the cuff why you would think that, right? But there's a lot more to the story. It's the iceberg theory, right? You're only seeing like 20% of the iceberg when it's out of the water when you're on a boat. That other 80% that's underneath is hidden until it's not. I think it's actually going to be shown to the world when he goes to ESPN. But we're going to get back to the Booster Club. Those phone lines are going to open here soon. I do want to before we get into a little yes or no here, Justine, I do want to play this clip of Dylan Raiola, the number one quarterback in the country who flipped from Georgia to Nebraska. This is his father talking about a certain person, speaking of ESPN, that called him when he was thinking about flipping. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
Bring up one guy's name. His name's Kirk Herbstreit. When he saw the smoke about Dylan entertaining Nebraska, he was like, called me. He said, dude, is this true? He got to do it. He got to do it. His affinity for Nebraska, for a guy like that to tell me and to, get behind me. Look, I knew he needed to do it, but I wasn't going to sit here and say, you need to go change that place or be a part of the change at that place. So when Kirk told me that, I was like, man, I've had people reach out, other coaches reach out to me and say, look, the place is special. Coach Rule's a special leader.
Here's where I'm at on this. Kirk Herbstreit can call who he wants, can tell somebody he thinks he needs to go there or whatever. I just find this very, very interesting, the way that ESPN has piled on Georgia. But let's just go back. And I want to read I want to read a tweet or an X, whatever the hell it's called, from a buddy of mine named Graham Coffey. I just want you to follow the timeline here, because this is a one-off thing. I wouldn't even bring this up. And I've got no dog in the fight with Georgia. I'm not a Georgia fan. But let's look at this. ESPN fires David Pollack after he called Georgia college football's new standard. And we obviously know about the other stuff that went on with that. Pat McAfee told Georgia fans that they can go to hell live on ESPN in December. That same week, we find out Kirk Herbstreit called five-star quarterback Dylan Raiola's dad and tried to ease him on to flip from Georgia to Nebraska. And then ESPN hires Nick Saban in February. What's going on with ESPN in Georgia? Like, do you think there's actually some sort of... I don't think Kirby has done anything to anybody, but you keep looking at this, and I'm not trying to be, woe is Georgia. I mean, they got the nicest transformer in the lot. But at some point, I mean, damn, dog, like, follow the bouncing balls here.
I mean, this feels just like a conspiracy, right?
Well,
kind of what we hit on before.
I don't think, no, because I don't think that there's one instance of
For what reason would they need to have anything against you?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. But I just listed things that actually happened in an order that culminated with Saban now ending in ESPN. I'm not saying all of that was cause and effect, but you've got the biggest people in the sport calling Georgia's commits,
and that's kind of where even listening to his dad, and if you've been around, kids who sign their parents, everything. His dad said, "Well, I didn't push him in any type of way or this or that." I don't know. Because in my opinion, when you come out and say that immediately as a coach, I'm like, "Oh, so you did?"
Yeah, so you did.
So you 100%.
Like when you say, "Well, I don't mean to be disrespectful," and then you say something that's utterly disrespectful.
I don't understand and as a parent, you need to guide your kid, obviously, but it's their decision at the end of the day. And Nebraska's a great school, and Georgia's a great school, but I don't know why you would steer your son to a certain way, away from a school like Georgia. Well, who's been winning natties, been doing this. That's why I think if there's anything, people always want to go at the people on top, right? They always do. So who's been on top lately? It's been the Georgia Bulldogs. So, I mean, if anything, for Georgia, it's a compliment.
When did ESPN come for Ohio State? Like, when did ESPN come for Alabama? When did ESPN...
Well, Nick Saban's... it's Nick Saban.
Well, it's... I mean, who else have they really come for? I just listed reasons. And again, look, I'm not sitting here trying to start a fire where there's not one. But I'm just following the bouncing balls here. I want to know what y'all think out there when you call in. Not just Georgia fans. It's just... I find that very surprising. But if it was my kid, number one, Kirk Herbstreit... Look in the Constitution. You can call who you want, say what you want, right? But even if Kirk Herbstreit called me and said, "Hey, I don't think that would be a bad idea for your son to go from Georgia to Nebraska," and you know what? Good for Nebraska. I don't think there's anything wrong with Nebraska. I mean, I've coached out there before. It's unbelievable, and the fans are nice to you. It's the weirdest reverse psychology ever. But even if Kirk Herbstreit called me and said, "Hey, man, your son may really need to think about flipping to this other school," you know what I'd say? I'd say, "Thanks, Kirk, for your input. My son's going to go where he wants to go, and 100%. We're going to make the decision as a family." I don't give a damn what Kirk Herbstreit says. I don't care what Lee Corso says. And it's not a knock on Kirk Herbstreit. I think Kirk does a great job. But I'm not letting any of that outside influence, tell me where to help my son make the.
And let's be honest, Kirk has a lot of influence.
He does have a lot of influence. He is and now he's in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, it's an interesting thing when you look at,
what would ESPN have to gain?
That's all I'm at. All I'm asking. I don't,
because it smells fishy. It smells fishy. I'll give you that, but I just don't know what they would have to gain by doing this.
Yeah, is it all a coincidence that it happens and just lines up like that? Maybe.
I don't know.
But look, a one-off thing, I can sit here and brush it off to the side and say, well, it is what it is. But no, we want to know what you think. But let's get to some yes or no Super Bowl edition before we
I'm excited about
John Fanta. I know I want a Fanta.
Don't you want to?
I want to.
I want a John Fanta.
But first, I want to do yes or no Super Bowl edition.
Let's do it.
All right, you guys got the cards?
Yeah, I'm ready and willing.
All right, number one, Taylor Swift. Oh, wait, wrong. Wait, I'm reading the wrong one. Sorry, guys.
No, not a good start. All right. Justine, everybody. Sweet, Super Bowl.
Anyway, the first one is Taylor Swift's presence in the NFL has led to an estimated rise of over 2 million female viewers. That being said, Swift has had an overall net positive impact on football this year.
No.
That was quick, Blaine.
Yes.
No, she's terrible for the game. Get her out.
Yes. Why do you say no?
Well, am I not? Did she probably bring more her little Swifties, which is a culture,
Not probably. She
into
did.
the NFL? I mean, yeah, it is, but it doesn't matter because her and Travis are going to break up. All right, they're going to he's going to propose. They're going to get married. They're going to get a divorce after a year, and then all the Swifties will be gone. It's making it about Taylor Swift. It's not about football anymore.
Well, look, I am not on the I hate Taylor Swift. There's a lot worse people out there that could be in this spot. So thank God I don't have to watch Sam Smith wear a coconut bra somewhere at an NFL game or something. Jason Kelsey's enough for me. What I'll say is I do think if you're looking at just this year, if it has brought in 2 million female viewers, that's obviously brought more eyes to the sport that I love the most. And is it a little annoying when they show her up there during games, right? And you hear about it 24/7? Yes. But I thought it was annoying whenever they showed Jessica Simpson all the time with Tony Romo. So I don't have that much of a problem with that part of it. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Those 2 million viewers, like Blaine just said, those female viewers that got brought in because of Taylor Swift, they better get married and they better stay married. Yeah. Because that 2 million, y'all know what happens. You meet a girl, y'all get together, y'all get married. She has all her friends. All her friends become your friends. Now that you have way more girls that are friends, minute y'all break up or something goes wrong, not only do you lose all those friends, but it doubles. They go tell all their other friends.
Oh, yeah, you're done.
So the 2 million viewers they brought in, they break up, they'll lose 4.
Her breakup album might be the best album, most albums.
This may be what it's setting up for. Hey, and then Travis releases a mixtape.
Hey, I didn't expect Jessica
from Cincinnati.
I didn't expect Jessica Simpson slander from you today.
I didn't slander Jessica Simpson. Look, let's be honest.
Sounded like you did.
All right? I'm married to the most beautiful girl in the world, but the second was Jessica Simpson in that Dukes of Hazzard movie.
I tell you,
prime Jessica Simpson.
These boots were made for walking.
Yeah, prime Jessica Simpson.
Woo.
I mean, that's World War.
They can show her on TV there as much as they want.
But this really took a turn.
Well, you know what? Welcome to
Yes or No
Company. Pylon Boys right here. Watch your mouth, Justine. Anyway, next question.
All right, next one. More people would rather see the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl than a Biden re-election.
No, I don't think so. 30. What is it? I'm trying to do the math in my head.
What matters more, the Chiefs winning or the economy?
God, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say, what is it? Like approval's at 37%.
Oh, I say no.
I say no. I say no. When it comes to look, everybody hates the team that's on top. The Chiefs have been the team that's on top. Patrick Mahomes is the new golden boy or golden arm, to use a Blue Mountain State reference, of the NFL. So obviously people are going to hate on him. But look, I mean, man, I got to stop paying this much for bacon and eggs and gas and stuff, man.
I paid like $20 for chicken yesterday. It's not great.
It doesn't matter who you root for. We all got to go to the same grocery store.
And I mean, look, a lot of people hate the Chiefs, but a lot of people hate the 49ers.
Yeah.
As well. A lot of people don't want to see anybody win this Super Bowl. A lot of people said, I mean, America died when the Lions lost.
I can understand that.
So
Dan Campbell is responsible for the collapse of America.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me.
All right, number 3. I'd rather sit next to Jackson Mahomes for the entire Super Bowl than Brittany Mahomes.
No. Because at least if Brittany Mahomes tries to kiss me, it won't be a guy.
I mean, can I choose death?
Yeah.
Is death an option?
I'm trying to think of all the things I would rather do than sit next to Jackson Mahomes. Because I'm going to tell you right now, first off, you did a TikTok dance on Sean Taylor's grave. It's on site. It's on site anyway.
There's no coming back.
But the minute I'm up there in that box and you start doing a TikTok dance next to me, we're going to have problems. I'm just telling you right now, there's not a world in which I would be friends with that person. Brittany Mahomes, maybe.
I'm sitting next to Patty's dad.
Yeah, I'm sitting next to Patty's dad. I'm driving him home.
From there to the game.
Patrick's paid me $800,000 to drive his father home after the game.
Can't wait.
Speaking of Patrick Mahomes Sr., Patrick Mahomes Sr. will get his 4th DWI on Sunday.
No, because I think Patrick Mahomes Jr. is a lot smarter. I'll say what I said the other day. You're mega rich. You're filthy rich. Hey, why did we just put a moat with the alligators in it and it's 2024 rich? How is nobody not driving you everywhere? How do you not call an Uber? Like, again, Patrick Mahomes Jr., I would sit down everybody in my circle and we would have what I would call the Mahomes intervention. I would start with Jackson. That would probably take an hour and a half. And then I'd probably dismiss him from the room and think about if I was ever really going to talk to him again. Then, Brittany, look, you got to stop. You got to stop making everybody think you're crazy. You know how you stop doing that? Stop doing crazy stuff. And then finally, last but not least, Pops. Doug, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Oh, you're going through the whole family.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I will give you an allowance to be able to have somebody drive you home. So, no, because I don't think he's going to be able to drive. I don't know if he can drive legally anymore anyway.
True.
That's the third
true.
DUI you can
It's too
face in
early.
15
Like,
years.
it's too early since the last one. Like, you got to give it some time.
If I were Patrick, I'd give him a moped.
No, I just give him a horse and a carriage. That's what I do. That'd be cool anyway.
That would be kind of dope.
Think about
Depends
that.
on how far you
What if we, it would take a long ass time to get places.
Depends on how far
But
you
would it be cool if like I just started going around in a horse and carriage though and had like a driver and like a top hat?
Yeah, but it needs to be like a souped up carriage. Like, it doesn't mean
No,
like,
I want old school. I
like
want
a
old-
regular Amish carriage.
Not an Amish. I'm talking about like royalty. I'm talking about why.
Okay, like souped up. That's what I'm saying. All right, like
Not souped up?
yeah.
I'm
The
talking about you put,
royalty
like, some-
carriages back in the day were
some
souped up.
cloth on the back of it. I thought you were talking about putting like it's a Fast and the Furious 9. They go into time.
No, I don't want you to drift in your horse and buggy, you know. But I want it to look dope.
Is that all the questions, Justine? Or you got one more?
No, I got one more.
All right, let's go one more.
Does the conspiracy theory about the Super Bowl logo and its color schemes predicting each year's final two teams hold any weight? So the conspiracy that like when they have the logo
I thought it
come
was
out,
Ravens.
No, well,
Ravens,
it's that died. That got killed this year.
Well, I'm gonna kill Trey. I have one more.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Roman numerals make the Super Bowl seem cooler and is in no way annoying to have to constantly look up the actual number.
I love it.
I think it's cool. This music is killing me. Just keep playing this music. It just reminds me like it's like in an old.
No, I feel like I'm on like Assassin's Creed.
Well, it's like that
starting
coffee
page.
commercial from South Park. It's like a roasted blend that never lets you down.
No, it's like a Netflix show that's like it starts off in a field.
Yeah.
Right, it starts on the field and just slowly starts panning. Some lady's like washing clothes over a well.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry. Getting back to the point. I think it's cool because when I think of Roman numerals, guess what I don't think of? The Romans. I think of the Super Bowl. The football has totally captured their whole numbering system.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see like a V with the line on top and the line on bottom, which obviously means something. I don't think of those Roman cathedrals. They were really, really amazing. No, I don't think about that at all. I'm like, all right, which Super Bowl is this? Do I have to Google it? Yes.
Oh, I've never known one number when I looked at it.
Well,
hopefully
I know,
someone's around me, right? It's one of those things where someone's around you and like then they say the number and right before they finish it, you know what they're going to say, so you finish it too.
Yes.
He's like, oh, Super Bowl 58. 58. I love it. It looks cool. I enjoy it.
It is good. All right, those are pretty good there, Justine. The logo one, I do. What color was the Super Bowl
Well, it's more
logo?
like, does it hold any weight? Like, was it ever true?
Hold on. I'm just trying to make sure I'm right. I think the colors were purple. I think if it was the
Ravens Chiefs.
If it was Ravens.
Wasn't it?
No, it was Ravens 49ers.
I mean, the
Because
Reds are very
49ers
similar.
The 49ers in the NFC. Ravens had to play the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah. Good
That's
point.
right.
Yeah. It was purple and it was red. So
is
it
purple
had to be
and red.
Niners Ravens. Yeah. How about that? But speaking about making mistakes, there's mistakes being made right now and you don't even know. Just Google yourself. All right. There's a ton of your information. And look, y'all can say, oh, he's reading an ad. I'm telling you, this really happened. All right. I Googled myself and saw all the information that was actually right. Like important stuff that data brokers and hackers could get a hold of that was on the internet. And honestly, it scared me a little bit. So if that's happening to me, I'm sure it's happening to everybody, right? They get your information, then they sell it. That's why you get calls from random people all the time. All right. So there's a lot more of your personal data out there on the internet for anyone to see, a lot more than you think. Name, contact info, social security number, home address. All right. They get compiled and sold by data brokers. And that's why you need DeleteMe, not yourself. All right. But all the information you don't want that's on the internet, you didn't even know was out there. It's a hands-free subscription service that will remove your personal info that's being sold online. It's really simple. You submit the info you want to have removed online, and DeleteMe's experts, they'll search the internet to find and remove it. You'll receive a detailed report in 7 days. They'll continue to remove your personal info every 3 months. Because again, I'm telling you, in the age we live in, even as long as we've had, this technology, there's a lot bigger digital footprint than you think. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe. So now, at a special discount, only for our listeners, this is a Booster Club Trust Tree special, all right? Today, Thursday, whatever today's date is, you can get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to, and follow me here, joindeleteme.com/crane. That's joindeleteme.com/crane. Use our promo code CRANE. It's spelled CRAIN, not spelled like that stupid bird, all right? CRAIN. Use that at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/crane and enter code CRANE, CRAIN, at checkout. It's joindeleteme.com/crane with promo code CRANE. All right, we got John Fanta.
Don't you want to?
Oh, I'm going to use the hell out of that joke. That's all we were saying last night when we were excited about getting him on. But I want to get to the Booster Club. And remember, the phone lines open in 9 minutes at 7:15 a.m. Central. That's 8:15 a.m. Eastern. And I'm too stupid to know what that is in any other time zone. Let's put the number in the chat. It's 1-855-236-3228. Blonde.
Let's go to Doobie84. What is up, my brother? Let's get that badge changed. Come on home to your boy. Happy Thursday, boys. Appreciate it. Happy Thursday to you. Said, God bless the newest little one added to the Cone family. Absolutely. Says, can Nick Saban, Pete Carroll, and Bill Belichick get their own show? Call it football from CBS.
All right, I'll do it. Me.
Oh,
Carroll,
you're going to throw you in there.
Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. That you want to talk about must listen. And listen, will it be unbelievably over-the-top entertaining? I don't know. Maybe the guys will let their personalities shine a little bit more, like I was talking about with the question earlier from Saban. But just the stories. I think it would be great if they had a podcast, those three, and it was just some of the best football stories. On the field, off the field, draft day stuff, recruiting stories. That would be amazing. They need to write a book, right? They need to write a book. And I'm going to tell you what they need to call it.
Okay.
All right, but I'm patenting this, and I want a percentage of it.
All right.
Fourth and Life. How about that? You mind blown? I don't like the face you're making right. Change your face.
It was like
Change your
cool,
face.
but then it sat in a little bit, and it just seems cheesy.
I hate you.
I know. You don't want to be honest with you.
Just change your face, Blaine.
Yeah. Let's go. I hate triangles.
Let's go to MG. Since the Amish cruise the streets in their buggies where I'm at, I'm always yelling. Hey, I'm always yelling America at them.
Hey, well, look, when I was coaching in Montana,
dude, they're out there,
and I'm trying to remember the name. There was like a sector. They were like Amish, but they were like halfway in, halfway out. Like they lived on old technology, but they pulled up to the grocery store in like F-350s. And then they would go drop like $500 because I don't think they have to pay taxes.
They don't have to pay taxes.
They don't have to pay taxes. Like these guys are rolling up in Amish outfits, hopping out of F-350s. I thought it was like a start of a music video. And apparently, I don't want to get too far in this, they have something that's called the golden handshake, where if you fit a certain type, since there's not a lot of them, they want you to go help more. No, I didn't. I did not. There's no little Jakes running around in Montana and wearing.
There's a lot of things I thought I would hear on the show. But the golden handshake.
Look.
The golden set-in.
But you can't see, you can't speak of.
Can't believe it. Let's go to Ferris Khan. What is that, my brother? He says, who has a better personality for TV, Nick Saban or Tom Brady?
I think they're both different. I actually think, I'm telling you right now, I think Nick Saban. I think people are going to be really surprised when they see this side of Nick Saban. I think they're going to be shocked at how funny the guy is. I'm just telling y'all right now, like he's a hard ass, ran it military style, very unbelievably structured, because that worked. But there is a side to Nick Saban that not a lot of people know, and I just hope he lets that shine through. Ask Julio.
Hey, Nick, let it shine through, Nick.
Let it shine.
Nick, let it shine through, dude. It's like a Hillary Duff song. Michelle Branch.
Don't bring Hillary Duff into this.
Michelle, look,
what did I tell you
She's
about
great.
What did I tell you about
She is great. I'm a big Hillary Duff guy. I'm a big Hillary Duff.
Why don't you look right in the camera and say that?
I'm a big Hillary Duff guy.
Good.
That's fine.
Good.
I'll say that.
Words out.
You just said golden handshake.
So what does that have to do with Hillary? Not with Hillary Duff.
Who knows?
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst, but.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Let's go to Chris Walton. What's up, Chris? Says there's something deeper going on with Raiola and UGA. The guy was teammates with KJ Bolden, was trying to flip him to Georgia as soon as he flips to Nebraska. KJ Bolden flips to Georgia.
Yeah, look, I'll tell you what it is. It's Kirk Herbstreit, man.
Who's Kirk all calling?
Yeah, Kirk was like, hey, listen, look, going to Nebraska is cool, but like you seen Ohio State? Like you seen, like we need you, dog. It's recruiting nowadays in the NIL era, in the transfer portal era. It's all crazy. There's always some method or story behind some big move that happened. Just because Georgia had a couple guys go elsewhere that were committed to them, the sky's not falling. Just look at the Avengers that they have on their team. They're taking a lot more than are getting taken away from them. I wouldn't look too far into that outside of, obviously what we explored earlier in the show.
Let's go to Stephen Moore, a.k.a. Stefan. There's a conspiracy against all GA sports. MLB expanded the playoffs versus the Braves playing in the NLCS after having the best record after 162 games. Big FAs never come to the Hawks, and the Falcons suck.
Well, here's the biggest problem with the state of Georgia sports. How in God's name is Georgia not elite in college basketball and college baseball every year? And we were talking about this with T-Bob at the Senior Bowl, and I've said this for a decade. Hadn't done sports media for a decade, but when I was coaching and recruiting, I said this, and I still believe it. Georgia, when it comes to the major three sports, baseball, basketball, and football, per capita, has the most talent in the country. In the country, in my opinion. So the fact that Georgia, and I know Mike White's building it over there, they got to finish, or learn how to finish as a basketball team. You got the lottery in Georgia. You have incredible high school baseball and travel ball in Georgia. It's one of the main travel ball hubs of the country. Believe me, I played in the East Cobb circuit for a long time. The fact that they're not better every year in college basketball and college baseball, it should be like it is in football. It really should be like that, especially in basketball. That absolutely blows my mind how they're not dominant every year in all three major sports.
I agree. Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the show. Let's go to Matthew Taylor. What's up, Matt? Says this is the exact scenario that I said would happen when FSU was snubbed for Bama. Saban will retire and replace Lee Corso on game day. SMH, also known as, I'm shaking my head.
Yeah, he is. Don't hurt your neck. Don't hurt your neck. All right, let's get one more. We got John Fanta coming in here in a couple minutes, and then we're going to get to the phones right after him. There's a lot that went on in college hoops last night, so let's go ahead and stay in the Boost Club there.
Okay, all right. Well, apparently your wife loves Hillary Duff.
Really?
Yeah.
We have never, ever had that conversation. Ever before.
About Hillary Duff?
Yeah.
Surprising.
Can I come over if you guys are watching the Liz McGuire movie?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, if you want to. I'm not going to be watching it. I'll be up in the man cave drinking a cold soda and praying to God we can make free throws at the end of a game.
Let's go to King Arthur, 1911. What's up, King? Says, as a Seahawks fan, there's no effing way I root for the 49ers. Go Chiefs. And also, do the Seahawks take a quarterback in the first round?
What are you going to do with Drew Lock? I mean, right? You already got a capable backup. Yeah. I got to see how much they're paying him. But if you can keep Drew Lock behind Geno, you saw what he was able to do coming in this year. I don't know. Obviously nobody wants to be a backup. Drew's going to stay in as long as possible, but I don't think so. I don't think they do. Now, if something happens with Drew Lock, maybe. But all right, it's that time. We got to bring in a guy that I got a ton of respect for. I love watching him on the field of 68. Very knowledgeable. Catch him on Fox, does an incredible job. Really has his hand on the pulse. And also, I get to open up his interview saying, do you wanna Fanta? I want a Fanta. It's John Fanta. John, what's up, buddy?
Jake, it's great to be with you. Thank you so much for having me. We're in a terrific time of year. I see that Auburn, Alabama banner behind you, my friend. Awesome atmosphere.
Yeah, it is. And it's, I talked about this all week, what's happened to the state of Alabama in college basketball, because, John, when I grew up, we were just praying to make the NIT. Auburn and Alabama. You may have a year every now and then where you make a run. Alabama's had a couple, but you look at the atmospheres. You look at I saw a stat yesterday that said, I believe Auburn, in the last 8 years, Alabama's won 2 regular season SEC titles, 2 SEC tournament titles. Auburn's won 2 SEC regular season titles and 1 tournament title. that's just incredible. You should just be Kentucky, maybe Florida, then everybody else really didn't help you. So just seeing that in my state is incredible. But I want to ask you this, John, and this is something that we've talked about a lot. You're a guy that you follow it like a hawk. You know what you're looking at. You've done it for a while. College basketball has always had a decent amount of parity, right? We've always, we see upsets all the time. We've seen ones beat 16 seeds beat 1 seeds. This year, however, I feel like who's the dominant team? Who is the one team that you can point at and say they're better than everybody else? I don't see it, and I love that because I think that's what makes March Madness so damn mad.
Well, I'm in agreement with you, and that's why college basketball is so much fun. And the one thing that the sport consistently has going for it over a college football is that the 19th best team in the country could play an unranked team, or the 23rd best team in the country could play what we think is the 40th best team in the country, and the game still matters.
Yeah,
it's not for some okay to average bowl game berth. When you get to be one of the 68 that are in the NCAA tournament, all that matters is that you're on the dance floor. Mm-hmm. Now, to answer your question about who's that dominant team, if there is a pick, my pick is Connecticut.
I agree.
Just 2 losses on the year, one of which came to Seton Hall when Donovan Clingan went out during the game. And you wonder what happens if Clingan stays in the game. You have an injury in the middle of a game, it changes the way you're going to play. It changes the dynamic. Not to take anything away from Seton Hall, who picked them off that night, but it's still part of the equation. The other loss is to Kansas. And, Jake, there's no shame in losing at Kansas. There's no shame in doing that at all. But I believe it's UConn. They answer every question. They are so incredibly efficient on the offensive end of the floor. Tristan Newton is playing at an all-American level. Cam Spencer has turned into one of the best bucket getters in college basketball. What a transfer pickup he was from Rutgers. Alex Caravan is Mr. Steady. He just is so calm, cool, and collected as a stretch forward and a knockdown shooter. And now their 5-star freshman for the Huskies, Stephon Castle, has bloomed. He has found his rhythm. He's got his offensive game going. And, oh, by the way, Clingan's back. He's healthy. He's coming off his first double-double of the season. Dan Hurley and the Huskies, they could be on the cusp of what is a dynasty type of feel in the sport. This is a blue blood. They've won 5 national championships since 1999. They have the best chance since Billy Donovan's Florida Gators to repeat for all the marbles.
Yeah, and John, they do have the unteachable intangible as well. They went through that run last year. They will not be intimidated if shots are not falling in the NCAA tournament. I always say the best utility outside of fertility is versatility. You got to be able to win in multiple ways. Booster Club, make sure you get some questions in there for John as well. I'm going to get to that. But also, looking around the country, every conference, what's happening with Gonzaga out in the WCC, I find fascinating. You look at what St. Mary's is doing. Gonzaga really doesn't have that, all-star stud we're used to seeing. But when you look around the rest of the country, you look at the ACC, you look at the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12. I can understand the argument saying that the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. I can even understand people saying the Big 10. But when I look at the SEC, John, we could have a possibility. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to get in 9. But we could have a possibility where 10 SEC teams get in. Can you just speak to, as somebody who has watched this grow like I have, that's kind of in the same age bracket as me, just how night and day it is to play in the SEC? Going on the road, it's like getting hit with an aluminum baseball bat when you walk into your kitchen. It's incredible to see the growth.
It is incredible to see the growth. And I'll tell you a little bit about that growth. In right around 2017, 18, right around that year, the SEC sat down as a coaching group. They brought in some advisors, Jake. They brought in some people who knew what other college hoops conferences around the country did to get more bids to the NCAA tournament. Because at the time, the SEC, you're right, it was just, it's Kentucky And then I guess it's Tennessee, and then it's everybody else, or
Florida may have a run, nobody else. Right. You couldn't get a good win like outside of 2 or 3 different teams.
That's it. And now every night in this league, you have the opportunity, most nights, to get a quality result. So they sat down, they said, what do we have to do? So we got to schedule better. What else do we have to do? Well, hey, we got all this football money. Can we use it to our advantage? Let's start using it to our advantage. We've got a Scrooge McDuck pool of gold. Let's pick some pieces from that gold, and let's make us better in men's basketball. And they've done it in women's basketball as well. Just look at South Carolina, look at LSU. But on the men's side, this league is as good as any in America. I'm absolutely with you. And I think if I'm putting my top 3 together, it's Big 12, it's SEC and Big East as 2A, 2B.
Agree.
The Big Ten's outside those 3 this particular year. But here's the thing. What I love about this league is, first off, the coaching. I mean, Rick Barnes at Tennessee has done a sensational job at evolving his offense. Dalton Knecht is an All-American, first-team All-American. What that kid is a bucket. The job that Bruce Pearl's done at Auburn, amazing. And Janai Broome right now, All-American material. Jalen Williams playing a big-time role, and Auburn looked great last night. Nate Oates has grown Alabama basketball so much, and Mark Sears is one of the best guards in the country. But you go right down the line this league. Kentucky, you could argue they've got the most upside in college basketball still. And when their offense is humming, they're really tough to beat. And I think the National Coach of the Year currently resides in the Southeastern Conference. His name is Lamont Paris.
Agree.
And he's done a brilliant job. South Carolina was picked to finish dead last in the SEC preseason poll, and he's got the Gamecocks at 20-3 on the season.
It's incredible. I mean, Chris Beard at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is looking like a team that could get in. Todd Golden at Florida. And I'm telling you right now, something happens with Calipari. I'll continue to say this. They need to look at Todd Golden. This guy is an up-and-coming star. He's a Bruce Pearl protege. Guy I got a lot of respect for. Blaine, we'll get to you, and then I've got to ask you, John, somebody on X asked me to ask about Kevin Neptune and Villanova and kind of what's going on right there. But let's get to the Booster Club.
All right, let's go to Chase Mills. John, he wants to know how much of a blow was Bryce Hopkins' injury for Providence, and could they have made a deep turning run if he had not taken place?
It was a big blow. Now, let's talk about the Friars in the now. The Friars last night got a massive overtime win over Creighton, a huge win for Providence, in which Josh Oduro and Devin Carter, the son of Anthony, who's on the Grizzlies staff, he had 28. Josh Oduro had 32. Between the two of them, they combined for 60 points, 23 rebounds, and 9 assists. Amazing win for Providence. Creighton was great. Providence found a way to be better. But how big of a blow was it? The fact is, the Friars, they had come into last night struggling. They had lost 5 of their last 8 games. Bryce Hopkins gave Providence the ability to get to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Without Bryce Hopkins, Providence is a bubble team right now. And if they can get an NCAA tournament win, that would be an immense accomplishment for Kim English in year 1. But Hopkins is such a centerpiece. He's a stretch forward who can score it, he can rebound it, he can post you up, he can go back to the basket, but can also take you off the dribble going to the rim. And he's just a great kid and a great leader. That ACL injury, I appreciate the question because you gotta bring it up when you're talking about Providence and where they are on the bubble right now. That was so unfortunate. When you talk about teams that have been snake bitten by an injury, right now Providence is right up there at the top of the line because if they had Hopkins, there's no doubt they'd be an NCAA tournament team. Could be a top 4 team in the Big East. In fact, probably would be. But without him, they're trying to piece it together. To their credit, last night, they had a resume-boosting opportunity against Creighton, and they seized a great win in Friartown.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget, Devin Carter, I believe, a transfer from South Carolina. So imagine if they had him as well.
I was going to Christopher Jordan. He said, John, do you see Dayton having the talent to maybe be a Final Four basketball team?
Yes. Yes, I do. I believe in the Flyers. If I'm picking a team outside the top 10 to make a run towards that Final Four, they're right up there. In fact, they'd probably be one right now. Dayton's having an amazing season. DaRon Holmes is versatile. He is so hard to guard. And they picked up a couple of really nice transfers. Nate Santos from Pittsburgh has done a great job between the defensive end of the floor, but also making timely shots. He stretches the floor. He can attack off the dribble. Kobe Elvis, I really like. Kobe Bray as well. Anthony Grant has a team that's dangerous because they're really effective offensively. And Holmes, every time Dayton steps on the floor, they could have the best player in the game in DaRon Holmes. Right now, he would be on my first-team All-American group. He really would be. He'd be right there. Zach Edey's on there. RJ Davis is on there. Dalton Connect is on there. You throw in DaRon Holmes, he's deserving of that as well. The Dayton Flyers are for real. I am all in on them as well.
Yeah. All right. I do want to ask you, John, before we get to the Kevin Neptune and Villanova situation, you brought up Kentucky. And we all know the tradition that Kentucky has. We all know that the fan base and the loyalty. They're one of the, not biggest brands, the biggest brand in college basketball. I think John Calipari is a good coach. I really do, John. But I think nobody has done less with more than John Calipari has at Kentucky. Now, when you look at the way that contract is structured, unless something has changed that I haven't been made aware of, which I don't believe it has, they gave him a quote-unquote lifetime contract. But there is a caveat where he could be moved to basically an administrative or a consultation role going into the year 2024, 2025, so next year. With the way that Kentucky, how it's been going here lately, with the amount of money that he's been making, if they don't make a run in the NCAA tournament this year, do you think there is just a possibility that we may see a new official head coach at Kentucky as John Calipari kind of moves on to the administration role? Because at what point, John? It's the same thing you see at Bama. Ryan Day right now is getting cooked at Ohio State for going 11-1 because they can't beat Michigan. Kentucky can't make it to the Elite Eight, and if it wasn't for Anthony Davis, they'd be ringless, really.
Well, Kentucky can't even make it to the Sweet 16. They got to get there first. They haven't made the Sweet 16 in 5 years.
That is true.
I'm with you. It's time. It's time for the Wildcats to make a run in the NCAA tournament. That team has too much talent. And I know that the counter to that was, well, they're young. Well, that's what you did. You signed up for that. You created the roster. You decided to go that young. I'm with you, Jake. And you know what? Sometimes we have to be hard on certain people if they're attached to certain brands. Yeah. And at Kentucky, John Calipari has not been able to get it done in the recent years. Has he done a solid job with this particular team? I would say solid. I would say it's been a fine season for them to this point. They're 16-6. At times, they've exceeded our expectations. But I did not rank Kentucky in the preseason. And when I did that, Jake, I got a lot of heat from Big Blue Nation. And the reason why was because of trust issues. Yeah. I don't know if I trust them.
I'm with you.
Defensively, they are a bad basketball team right now. They're sub 100 group on the defensive end of the floor. Now, Rob Dillingham has had a great year. Reed Shepherd's been phenomenal. Antonio Reese as well. They've got individual talent. In March, you've got to defend. You've got to play collectively. And when the game gets in the final moments, do you execute in the half court? To me, Kentucky's a great pickup team. They could run the floor. They could take you off the fast break, and they're going to be able to score. That's not a sustainable formula to win a national championship. So to your point, they've got to make the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. If they do not, I'm in agreement with you. I think that if you're the Kentucky administration, you have to take a hard look at your program and say, we're not meeting the standard. It's time for a change.
Yeah, we're not getting what we're paying for. And look at the comp I use. This year's Kentucky team reminds me of this past year's LSU football team. Electric on offense. They can go score. They can drop a C note at any point in time in any game, but there is no defense. Absolutely no defense, and you can't win that way. Why does Alabama, why can they shoot all these threes and do all this? Because they play defense. Maybe not so much this year, but that's the same formula they use that worked. Kentucky's just not playing defense. But another coach, real quickly, we're here with John Fanta, does an incredible job. Catch him on the field at 68, catch him on Fox, covering the Big East. Kevin Neptune, Villanova. You had big shoes to replace in Jay Wright. What do you think so far about his performance? The name's awesome. Now you just got to play better.
Yes. Here's the deal. Villanova started 3-0 in the Big East. Since then, they're 2-7.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut to Villanova.
Yeah.
The pressure's rising on Neptune, and he has got to be able to get this Villanova team back on track. They're just last night against Xavier. They had about 18 seconds on the clock. They were down 3. That. They didn't get a shot off. They didn't get a shot off.
How does that happen? Off. How does that happen?
That's just really, really poorly mismanaged basketball there, if I've ever seen it, from some experienced guys. You've got Justin Moore. You've got Eric Dixon. These guys have been to a Final Four.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on at Villanova? I know that Jay Wright is not there, but Villanova, I know you're better than that. I think we all do.
Yeah.
And right now, the fact is, though, this team is not. I mean, this team would not make the NCAA tournament if it started today and is in great danger of missing a second consecutive NCAA tournament after not doing – they didn't miss a tournament since 2013 before last year. So this is concerning. I mean, if you're a Villanova fan, you've got to be panicking right now about the state of your program. They're 12-11. They beat North Carolina. They beat Memphis. UCLA ended up being bad, but they beat them in the non-conference. You're sitting there saying, wow, they won the battle for Atlantis. They're going to make the NCAA tournament. No, they're 12-11. They're getting eaten alive in the Big East right now. Offensively, their identity is so reliant on three-pointers. That's not sustainable when you don't have great shooting.
Yeah.
And they don't make up for it enough on the other end of the floor. But it just seems like they get tight late in games. And that's the difference between Jay Wright and a Kyle Neptune. Jay Wright knew how to win. He knew how to win those late game situations. Neptune, you never want to be the guy that replaces the legend. You want to be the guy that replaces the guy who replaced the legend.
100%.
Unfortunately, Neptune is having to deal with that right now.
Yep, that's what we said about the Alabama hire. But, John, thanks so much for joining us, my friend. We got to have you on again as we get closer to March. I know you've got it covered. Tell everybody where they can find your work because it's really great stuff.
At John_Fanta, JOHN_Fanta on X. You can find me on FS1 and Fox Sports throughout college basketball season. I also do some games for CBS Sports Network.
Yep.
But I'm also a reporter for FoxSports.com. You can find all my work there. And I know my buddy Tim Brando joins you guys here and there. He's one of my good friends. So I love coming on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely, man. Tell Goodman and Rob we said what's up. But we appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
I will. Thanks, guys.
I appreciate it. Man. One of the best in the business. Make sure you give him a follow on all socials. The guy really knows his stuff, and they put on a really good program over there. All right, we got the phone lines open.
Lines are full.
All right, lines are full. Let's get to it, Justine.
All right, first person up is Tristan from Tennessee.
Tristan got to call in today. There you go.
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to say you guys have a great show.
Thank you.
The topic I was going to talk about was a lot of people say the NFL is rigged because the Taylor Swift stuff, and I think the only way they can do that because the players would not do that.
Yeah,
but the refs can call. I've watched a lot of football. They can call one side or the other. What are your thoughts?
Listen, if you were going to fix, if you went up to me and said, Jake, we've got to fix this game, but it's going to be very hard to control the players because there's so many moving parts to be able to fix it. What's the best way to do it? Well, the two best ways are you got the coaches on the hook, the guys who are calling the plays, right? Because they can put the team in a disadvantageous situation. Or I'm going to get the referees. Because the referees can affect the game more than anybody else outside of the players, even more than the coaches. They, outside of the guys actually dribbling the ball, or catching the pass, or throwing the pitch, the referees, look at the NBA. when the NBA was fixing games. Were the players in on it? No. But they could tell something was going on with Tim Donaghy and these guys, the way that they were calling fouls. Because, again, especially in basketball, oh, my God. Like, they call every game different. So I would go straight to the coaches or the refs, and I would see who's coaching baseball at Bama. That's what I would do.
Well, hey, nowadays you could probably get a player or two anyways.
Well, to me, the player, it's
three ways, right? It's refs, coaches, and players. If you get
players are the hardest to control.
For sure. But if you could get a quarterback to throw a game, if you could get a center to throw a game, I mean, you'll find a way, trust me. You'll find an avenue if the other two don't work. But I'm sure some players can be bought off. And look, the Taylor Swift thing, the only thing I know is if you want to talk to a bunch of NFL fans, I don't have an NFL team per se, but they think the Chiefs get a lot of calls. A lot of calls, even before Taylor. And then you add Taylor Swift, the golden girl with Travis Kelce, the one white guy with the fade in there. I mean,
I don't think
dangerous mix.
I don't think it's rigged. I just think the Chiefs are damn good on defense this year. But if I was going to go through rigging it, that's how I just explained how I would do that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's rigged. I just think the refs have a little bit more power than they should.
They have. But what do you do though?
Biased.
Well, what do you do that? I mean, do you talk about accountability? Like, do y'all need to do a press conference after the game, or somebody needs to get fired or fined or something like that? I'm all with that, but you can't sit here and say, all right, well, y'all got to stop calling so many fouls, because then you're going to dictate the tempo and the pace and the tone of the game, where it gives maybe one team an advantage over the other. But Tristan, it's interesting to look at and think about. There's a lot of money that exchanges hands, so it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for answering my question.
Of course,
dude,
man.
great call, Tristan.
Great talking to you.
Yep, thank you.
See you, bud.
All right, next we have Steve from Ohio.
Steve.
Hey.
What is up, my guy?
Now, look, you guys are cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Steve. Some people have said I'm the coolest.
I'm the coolest.
I'm the coolest.
But
Come investigate.
Do you have your own action figure?
Not yet, and we're hoping that apparently there's been a donation fund set up to have our action figure.
A GoFundMe, I believe. Steve? Yes, a GoFundMe, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, if I become an action figure, that may just be peak. I may put it down.
Do we have Sarah McLachlan music? No, we don't have that.
No, we don't have. We'll work on that.
Okay, because having your own action figure would put you over the top.
It would.
It would.
I mean, that's really all I'm missing at this point. I mean, I'm married. I got a house. We got Good Ranchers coming in. Don't start making stuff up over there. All I need is an action for the man cave, Steve. Actually, we'd have to put him in the studio, right? They would have to go in the studio. I would put mine right here, right by me, right on this side table, right by me, like my little pylon board.
Well, because I have my own action figure.
Well, Steve, that's why you're the GOAT.
Now, I do have the GoFundMe. Am I allowed to put the link to the GoFundMe in the chat?
Look, it's fine by me.
Yes.
Do it, Steve.
Yeah, you put the link in there.
Do it.
Only if I get the proceeds.
I didn't want to ruffle any feathers.
No, you're good, Steve.
Steve, you live your best life. Let's get those action figures made. I want to stare at myself staring at myself.
Hey, make sure you call in and do trivia when David gets back.
Yes, he misses you.
Will do. But also, what I wanted to tell you, those headshots that you guys need to do.
Yes.
It's probably a good idea to do 2 or 3 of each angle.
Okay.
We got it.
Pretty particular on their photos.
Justine, we got to have some headshots from like the movie and stuff, right? Like, I don't want to be in my Lady Ballers outfit on the action figure though. That'd be a plot twist. I'm not.
Yeah, we got headshots. Steve, we'll get it done.
Steve, we got you. We'll find you off air.
Yeah, and what you actually want to be wearing on your action figure would be the next thing to do.
Can I be in a superhero outfit?
Someone wants to be in a football uniform.
What do you want to be in, Blaine?
I mean, it's got to be something with a dragon.
It's got to be something with a dragon. That's exactly right.
Let me put some feeler.
Yeah,
I'll get someone to draw.
This is like getting
someone up. I'll get somebody to draw it up, and I'll see what I like, and I'll get it sent.
Yeah, we love Steve. I love where your head's at right now.
Loves it.
All right. Well, as soon as I hang up, I'll go get the link and I'll put it in the chat.
You do it, Steve.
Appreciate it, Steve. That's why they call you.
You're doing God's work, Steve.
Take care, guys.
Thanks,
you too,
buddy.
Bud.
All right, next up we have Jonathan from North Carolina.
Joe Nathan, what's up?
What's up, dude?
This is JTX Inferno.
Let's go.
Hot in here, baby.
It is hot. And I thought something smelled funny, but in a good way.
45 miles away from Durham. So this time of year gets interesting. I was not going to call in anything since Saturday, but since there was a particular North Carolina fan that got on my last one, I decided I had to call in and tell the fans, tell the Tar Holes what's what.
Clap back at him, dog.
The Tar Holes?
Yes, they're Tar Holes.
That's pretty good.
Because for some reason, their mascot, whatever nickname, is a Tar Heel. I understand the history of it. It doesn't make any sense. They have a ram.
Yeah, but believe me, I'm an Auburn fan. Our mascots really don't make sense either, so I don't have any.
Hey, we're an eagle and a tiger.
We're an eagle and a tiger. You should just put them together.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah, that's horrifying to think about.
Yeah, that's weird. But I was gonna let the UNC fans know that. You see, I've heard what you said. I've heard what you said about winning against Saturday. I was going to let it go, but you kept talking too much. You see, I wasn't going to say anything about this matchup is because we won twice last year. Yes, we went to your home. We put our feet up.
Yeah,
we drank your beer. We ate your food. We touched your wife. We threw you outside and beat you up in front of your family and kids. And then we buried you. And now you talking smack?
It's just like, okay,
so you finally defended your house for once, like a man should, this year?
God, Jonathan.
You guys were very disappointing last year. Very disappointing last year. What? Baycott? You guys make the NIT more than any other supposedly blue blood I've ever seen in my life. So once you sit over there, when we play again in March at our home, we'll show you what a real beatdown is, and you'll sit over a corner and you'll like it.
Wow. First off, Jonathan, the next time you call in, we gotta put the motivational music behind it. That was fantastic. And I know you're talking about Voltar. Voltar has had so many enemies. Is he turning into the villain of the show?
I think so. We need a bell we can ring, like before they do a boxing match.
Yes.
Like, do the call.
I do. We probably actually have that. I just keep forgetting the numbers.
Strong words from a strong man.
What else you got, John?
Also, he has another team that volunteers to have another disappointing season. The team volunteers as tribute to get kicked out the first and second round every year.
Look, represent your district.
And guess, and it's always Tennessee. Right, David?
Yeah.
I'm looking at him right now. That's him and Pylon Boy over here.
That's right, David.
But Jonathan, look, you're right, my friend. Great call. Inferno. Bringing the heat.
I love it. Voltar's just something right now with that Arthur gif shaking his fist.
Yeah, he's just shaking his fist in rage right now.
I can feel
But Jonathan, dude, you got to call in more, man.
I feel him in the chat. Great call.
All right. What else, Justine?
Next up, we have King Don from Little Rock, Arkansas.
King Don.
So back.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's up, dog?
What's up, dude?
All right. I'm going to try and go a little bit fast so other people can get a chance. I got a little game for y'all. It's called Stats Without Names. I'm going to read three different players' stats. They're all quarterbacks. It can be from any year, and they don't all have to be from the same year. And based purely off the stats, not trying to guess which player it is, you pick which quarterback you would take.
Okay.
All
right. So it's matching the quarterback to the stat?
No. You're saying which one you would take. You're not supposed to figure out which quarterback is which. You're just saying which quarterback you think has the best stat line.
Gotcha.
All right. Player A has 3,678 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a completion percentage of 67.2, and the touchdown to interception ratio is 2.6.
Okay.
Player B has 4,159 yards, 32 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions, a completion percentage of 64.2, touchdown to interception ratio of 2.9. And then player C has 4,183 passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns, 14 interceptions, a completion percentage of 68, and touchdown to interception ratio of 1.9. Which player would you take?
Can you read the first one again?
3,678 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 67.2 touchdown. 67.2 completion percentage, and the touchdown to interception ratio is 2.6.
Give me player B all day. All day.
What was player B's completion percentage?
64.2.
You got that 2.9 touchdown to interception ratio, 32 and 11, 64%. Give me player B.
B's right, but I'm going to go with A to be
Ready,
different.
player B.
I'm go A to be different.
So Blaine, you actually think it's B, but you're saying A just so you can spike.
Well,
yeah, he does that stuff.
You're picking straw. You're splitting hairs.
All right, you both are choosing player B. Second question: who do you guys think should win MVP this year?
See, here we go.
Second, I would say. I mean, it's tough not to still pick Lamar, but
okay.
Hey, can I switch to A? Can I switch to A? I'm gonna go A.
You can't.
Come on.
Not too late, Blaine. The first player is Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Player C is Patrick Mahomes, and player B is Jordan Love. Now, I'm not saying Jordan Love is better. I'm just saying with just stats and no.
I went A. So I picked Lamar Jackson.
No, we both picked B. Look, I'm going to go on the blind test. I'm going to go with the best numbers. Yeah, he may have a couple more interceptions, but you got a better touchdown to interception ratio. It's funny when you do that because it does show you. And look, every schedule is different, right? But it does show you. How much weight a name carries, right? Like how much you give a name just by hearing the name and how much you kind of want that guy over the other one. But look, it's a fun experiment to run out.
I mean, it would have helped. If we got rushing yards, it probably would have helped a lot on decision making on who we picked up.
Well, look.
A ton, actually. It would have made it a little bit closer, but I had those numbers up earlier. They were still pretty darn similar if you include rushing touchdowns and rushing yards.
Good news for Packers fans.
Like Jordan did it this year.
I'm not saying Jordan Love is a better player than Lamar. I don't think he is, but my main point from this is I don't think Lamar should be MVP. Not because he's not quarterbacking enough or anything. I just don't think he is. His total touchdowns is 29, and I don't think for a quarterback that's an MVP season. All right, the most amount of touchdowns a Bears quarterback has ever gotten is 29. So if your best season is a Bears' best season, you shouldn't win. You shouldn't win MVP as a quarterback.
Man, great stuff.
Great, I love that game.
Hey, that was
a fun game to play.
Let's do that more.
There.
That's even better than like just as long as you're not showing up in a tricycle with a saw mask on.
Yeah, those games are fun too.
All right,
next we have Jordan from Alabama.
Jordan.
Fellas.
What's
Auburn
up?
Whipped Alabama's ass again. Who'd have thunk it?
Man. Jordan.
Grant Nelson sucks.
And I do want to say this, though. Jordan. And look, we're all fans of somebody. But last night, and I think Jimmy Dykes said something last night that was 100% right on. And, if you take your fandom glasses off, you can really appreciate this. Yeah, the Duke and North Carolina rivalry may have more history, but there's not a college basketball rivalry right now that has more heat and more relevance than Auburn, Alabama. I never thought I would say that. I never thought I'd say that. But that atmosphere last night was insane.
Oh, I was sitting here at my house and I couldn't hear myself.
It's just wild to see. I remember watching Rob Chubb's goofy ass run up and down the court with Tony Barbie over there. The only thing that was worse than our shooting was his hairline and his.
Simeon Bowers dribbling up the court.
Simeon Bowers was taking the ball up the court. I just want you to think about that.
Look, the best player on the court last night was Jalen Williams, and it's not even close.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Yeah. He's the best matchup. I think he's. You know what Jalen Williams is like to me? He's like that big tight end that can block and catch and run. Like it's just a bad matchup. Like Auburn, front court wise, Name 3 teams that are better than Auburn. And look, Alabama's good, okay? Alabama's problem is they're just a little light in the ass. And I'll say this. I think Alabama plays better, even though they don't have the biggest front court, without Nick Pringle. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with that dude's attitude. I'm telling you, I feel like they play better when he's not there.
Well, it's extremely hard to win a road game in the SEC.
Yeah, well, especially the Iron Bowl.
You go to Auburn and try to win there, just like Auburn goes. Like Auburn can't win in Alabama either. So if you're an Alabama fan, don't get your head down. Same thing like Auburn when they lost at Alabama.
That's exactly right. But Auburn needed that last night.
One thing, guys, before I hang up, because I know y'all got to get to bed, but I know y'all being Alabama boys, Rick and Bubba have announced that this is their last year, and they're closing the show. So,
thank goodness I got to go on there about a year and a half ago. Had a great time. Look, I remember, and I'm sure a lot of people share this. But I remember every morning when my mom would take me to school, it was Rick and Bubba on the radio. Mm-hmm. That's what we listened to. I grew up with Rick and Bubba. It's an incredible run. And, I definitely want to give those guys their flowers. Some of the best in the business. And great human beings, too, as well.
Rick and Bubba.
Now, I grew up on that, Jordan. That's a great shout-out, man.
Yeah, y'all have a great day.
You too, man.
Shock the nation. 2 girls walking together. All right, what we got next?
I guess we have time for one more. We have Pokey Texan in Texas.
All right.
Pokey Texan.
Hey, fellas, I've been missing y'all.
We've been missing you.
Congratulations, Tom.
Yeah. Another one for the Horde, baby. Another listener.
I gotta come out of left field with mine this morning, guys. We've been talking a lot of Nick Saban and Taylor Swift. I just call her Britney Spears. But I got to ask, Big 12 football, big change in what's going on with what my folks have got to put up with now.
Yeah.
I want to know, I'm going to give you my top 3 of the realigned Big 12.
Okay.
And I want to hear why I'm wrong and hear what you say about where you be.
Gotcha.
I got Kansas State and Oklahoma State, followed up real close by Texas Tech on what's going to be the top 3 in the Big 12 now.
I tell you what, Pokey, here's what I'll say. I'm interested to see, what Kansas State does, obviously, now that Will Howard's gone. But with Kleiman, how they're going to play. There's no – and I think the way they play obviously can help fill that vacuum or that void that Texas and Oklahoma are leaving. I'm going to tell you a team. And look, y'all know us. We're big Joey McGuire guys here.
Oh, yeah.
With Texas Tech. It's only a matter of time with the way they're recruiting and what they've done. I'm going to tell you who to watch out for, though. It's Utah, right? Because it's got to be. You look at Cam Rising coming back. The way that Kyle Willingham has built that team from a physical standpoint, but they can also play in a track meet as well. So I think Utah is a team to watch out for. I think they're a team that could come in and throw a couple haymakers early. Oklahoma State this year, Pokey, what is it? Do you think we're going to get back to a little bit more high-flying Oklahoma State offense as opposed to, waiting for apparently the best player on the team to start playing week 3 or week 4 like Ollie Gordon did? How are you feeling offensively about Oklahoma State?
I think we've got to ride with Ollie first off. And from what I've seen, I do think that we're going to have a lot more long ball this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I do think
y'all have got to have something. Yeah.
Where we go in the ground game to open up the passing game.
I agree with that. Well, what I'm finding interesting too when I look at the Big 12, how does Houston look under Willie Fritz, right? Going in this second year in the conference, first year under him. You got UCF as well with Gus Malzahn, who's recruited really well. I tell you, as big of a blow,
Baylor,
like
later, Baylor's going to figure it out.
Well, you would think so. If they're not, Dave Aranda's ass about to be fired into the sun if they don't figure it out. But I think a lot of people are looking past the Big 12 now that Texas and Oklahoma are out of it and gone to the SEC. I'm the exact opposite. I think it's maybe the most fascinating story in college football of who fills that void in that vacuum. Yeah. Not that Texas and Oklahoma were winning it every year, but as the premier brand programs of that conference, not just in basketball, but in football as well. So, Pokey, we'll see, man. We'll see. Let us know how you feel.
Can I tell you one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you one dirty secret.
I love dirty secrets.
Raised in Waco, Texas. And for those who lived in McLennan County in Waco, you can't root for Baylor because you can't stand the student body.
Really?
Really?
Well, what is that? Well, why is that? They just uppity?
It's a bad mix of like lukewarm Christianity mixed with high society.
Wow, that is a weird mix.
Yeah, that is a weird mix. But I tell you what's not a weird mix, Pokey, when you call in, brother.
Love it, Pokey. Great call, Pokey.
All right, buddy. All right, here's what we got last night. All right, let's get to bets. 2-0. Indiana State, the Sycamores. My boy Avila, a.k.a. Little Dmitry Petrovich.
Uncle.
Out there just looking unathletic, but being super athletic.
And then Jameis Winston. That's what.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody, look, goofy success is still success.
Tackle him.
And then Duke had a minus 16.5. They won by 18 against Notre Dame. And the children they got on that basketball team, even though I'm big on Burton, that freshman, that kicking ball. Just you better hold on to him. Him and Shrewsbury, you better hold on to him. So tonight, we're sticking on the hardwood. Arizona State is at Colorado. Give me the over 147.5. That's at minus 120. And then, I almost picked a money line because the spidey senses are tingling. Give me the Beavers of Oregon State damming it up, hamming it up, and hopefully tonight yamming it up at plus 9.5. That's going off at a smooth and sensual minus 1.
All right, love that. 1-1 yesterday, but it's a beautiful, poetic 1-1. Duke hit, obviously. Great, won by 18.5, 16.5.
Hedge your emotions.
Then take Bama plus 4.5.
Hedge it.
Darn it. Dang it.
Hedgy enough
Didn't
to
mean
give
to miss
Reggie
that.
Bush a wedgie.
That's what I'm going to go with today. I'm going to go with the team of dreamers and believers and team screamers. Give me the Flyers money line. Plus 116. They're on the road playing somebody. All right, and then give me the Avalanche at home plus 112.
The Avs are underdogs at home?
I believe so, yes.
Wow.
Yes. 2 hockey bets today.
We'll see.
I don't like it, but we're going to do it anyways.
Need that over. And then Oregon State, just lose by 8 or less. That'd be great. Or 9 or less, I'd get away with it. All right, let's get to donos.
All right, let's get to some donations here. We're going to start it off with Justin Alferreira with the $2 donation. Justin, thank you, buddy. He said, who would be a possible replacement for Neptune?
At Villanova?
Not the planet.
Man, I'd have to look at it. Again, the way Villanova is with coaches, they haven't had a lot over the years. Do you go young? I mean, obviously do you look at maybe a Rick Pitino? Would he leave St. John's to go to Villanova? Would Villanova hire him? I don't know.
A lot of people say Nate Oates.
Nate Oates?
No one said that. I just made that up. And I want to make sure
you're just throwing it out there, putting it in the universe. I respect it. Yeah. Let me look into that, but they would have to go after a big name because they'd be coming off obviously a down. Would they make a run at Lamont Paris or somebody like that? I don't know. I don't know if Lamont would leave.
Let's go to Chase Mills with the $5 donation. Appreciate it, Chase. Says, what is Jalen Williams and what planet did Bruce Pearl get him from? It certainly is not Earth.
Well, look, Jalen Williams is the winningest Auburn player of all time in college basketball. I believe he's been there for 5 years. How many fifth-year seniors that are size, that have size advantages and that stay at the same place for all 5 years in the same system and keep developing? What you are seeing is because early in Jalen Williams' career, he could score, but he wasn't overtly physical. He wasn't going in there and banging on the boards and doing the things around the rim. He's always been a good shooter, but he is a complete player right now. And when you stay and you develop and you believe in the guys around you and the system that you're in, and we don't see a lot of that nowadays, sometimes you end up like Jalen Williams, and who's always been a class act. So really excited for him.
All right, let's get to the poll. Great job today, chat. Poll. Who can complete a sentence better? Joe Biden or Lee Corso?
I'm going to say Lee 51%. I don't know on this one.
Lee Corso 92%. Joe Biden 8%.
Really? Well, he did call that kid a midget.
Wow.
Did he say F and then midget?
No, yeah, he called him an effing midget. Give me that effing midget.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild. All right, we appreciate you guys. Appreciate John Fanta. Make sure you share the show. Keep subscribing. The donations, we appreciate it. Go grab some merch as well. Got a great show for you tomorrow. Maybe David will be back. But again, replacement Conan Pylon Boy. I mean, I got to give it up to y'all.
Pylon Boy, you did great today.
What is your deal? What is your deal right now?
Me and replacement Conan are beefing.
That's fine. When you wake up and replacement Conan's just staring at you right next to your bedroom. You don't sleep?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. Like the chances
of
the SEC being average in college basketball, we're going.
Did you see it move?
Did you see it move?
Did
you see it move?
Trash.
Like Billy Hader, gone.